Now, where does the real game start for the Falcons? I believe Jarvis, it started at the Benz yesterday because
Indeed.
I believe we all knew that for the sake of the Falcons' playoff hopes, yesterday really was a must win. It really was a
Right.
do or die. So it was a badly needed win for the Falcons. They took care of business with a 27-24 win over the Bears. And, I think about this. It felt like it was badly needed to keep their playoff hopes alive. But Jarvis, I also feel like there's some other reasons why that was a badly needed win. And it was I'm going to go a couple different directions, right? First and
Okay.
foremost, I want to say on the offensive side of the ball, right? I think that they all, whether it's the O line, the run game, passing game, everybody wanted to bounce back. And I'm going to give you
Mhm.
something that's a little bit of different offense. And we talk about this all the time with special teams coordinator Marquise Williams, how the special teams can be offense or defense depending on what they do, flipping the field and the like. Well,
Right.
guess who flipped the heck out of a field yesterday and gave the Falcons the real offense that really got them the win? Cordarrelle Patterson, historic ninth career kickoff return for a touchdown. How much credit does CP deserve for the Falcons' success? Particularly, like I said, it was special teams, but it was still offense.
If you give me asking for a percentage point, I would have to go 55%. Because here's why. Because they badly needed a score going into halftime. And for him to be able to, and the offense was struggling outside of that first drive,
Yep.
crickets. You know what I'm saying? It was a little weak sauce. So I think that for him to be able to do what he did, and then this was after the fumble as well. So
Yeah.
he talked about how he was just thinking about that and how he was so upset about it. He was just like, he don't care if doggone Santos had kicked that bad boy to the back of the end zone. He was
He was
going to
taking
take
that.
that mug out. And Coach Williams, like you mentioned, special teams coordinator, he gave him the leeway. He's like, all right, you can do your thing. So absolutely, that was the huge momentum swing for him to be able to get that return and take it to the crib. And I almost kind of got a little scared a little bit. I was just like, because once he got past Santos, somebody was coming in closing in pretty fast, and I was just like, did when he clipped his foot, I was like, oh no, don't let him
Right.
fall right before the goal line. But he
Right.
fell right into the end zone, and it was so funny. The Cordarrelle Patterson was like, yeah, man, I was trying to cry to celebrate, but my teammates wouldn't let me. I'm like, dog it, man. Let the man be vulnerable. T, what's wrong with
Exactly.
these folks, man? 2022.
Yeah. Let him enjoy. Let him bask in all of it. And the other thing is this, only 53 yards rushing. But the reason I mention that is because he's so bruising and
Right.
he rushes with such ferocity. It's like those are the little things as well that keep wearing a defense out, and you see them start to really kind of slow down and get sluggish in that fourth quarter. So that's why I
Mm-hmm.
would agree with you 55, maybe even 60%, because run after bruising run is what he did. And that's what CP brings back to a running back core. Did the committee do well in his time out with when he was injured? Sure, they did.
Right.
But you see when he comes back, how much of a difference maker he is. Now, switching gears, Jarvis, because you
Mm-hmm.
got to give these bend don't break guys some credit as well. Justin Fields, they held him under 90 yards. This is the same guy who rushed for 143 yards just last week.
Right.
Falcons were able to contain him, but Jarvis, how'd they do it? Who and how did they do it?
They put pressure on the quarterback. They sacked him 4 times. They had 9 tackles for loss. Like I'm sit there on Sundays and literally beg these guys to get off the blocks because
Right.
that's what in today's outside zone schemes and guys and kind of moving along and like and being so synonymous with their steps and everything.
Mhm,
Like what
mhm.
blows all that up? Getting upfield, getting in the backfield, and letting the doggone running back see your eyes. Because
Yes.
running back can see your eyes when he gets that ball. I promise you, he's gonna hesitate. Wherever he's going, he ain't gonna get there because he is worried about where you are and what you're trying to do to him. And I think that you saw that consistently. And this was one of the things that I was kind of going. I go through all in my mind all type of different scenarios as the game goes along, right?
Mhm.
Because it seems like when the Falcons defense, when they get themselves in trouble, is when they have those first and long, or I mean second and longs, and then
Mhm.
they allow 12 yards if it's second and 13, and I'm just like, and then you're in third and short situations. It's just a
Mhm.
horrible situation for them
Yeah.
because they haven't been that good on third down. That's one of the
Mhm.
reasons why, because you're giving up chunk plays, or you're giving up significant yardage on those early downs, and that's
Mm-hmm.
how they got themselves in trouble. But when it was second and long, it ended up being third and long, and then that's when you start talking about, hey, D-line, run some
Yes.
games. You can
Yeah.
get into those things because those guys, the quarterback has to hold the ball just a little bit longer in order
Mm-hmm.
to try to get that first down. So
Yes.
you saw that, and they were running stunts, and then you got Lorenzo Carter and Grady Jarrett out here playing around and slamming Justin Fields' head against the back of the doggone turf. I was like, oh my
Bless his heart.
gosh.
Yes.
Yeah, bless his little heart. That's how I felt about Justin Fields after the game. Bless your little heart. But yeah, that was the part of, you knew that was part of the game plan to hit
Yes.
him, not viciously, but hit him.
Yeah.
Let them know that you're there. That's what you
Yes.
do to running quarterbacks, and
Mm-hmm.
let them know, and make those guys be able to hesitate in order before they think about taking off running, or the offensive coordinator, hey, he might not call it a design run because he's out there taking some licks. But Luke Getsy was just like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and keep calling these design runs.
Yeah. And also give a lot of credit to the Falcons secondary, because like you said, when Justin Fields O-line actually gave him an opportunity to throw, the Falcons secondary was like, not on my watch, because he is actually a better deep thrower than he is with the short game or
yes,
screen.
he was. He showed that.
Like, now what? And like you said, because maybe we'll call it a little bit of youth, if you will. We'll call it maybe not a lot of experience. He didn't recognize, at least in a timely manner and enough times, that, hey, they're taking away my long passing game. Let me go ahead and pull this ball down and just take run off, and let's just see what happens in a non-designed run play. So I wanted to just give the secondary credit for that. But this goes back to something
it was back though, right, T?
Huh?
That dude was back.
And I was about to say, and
that dude was back. Not a coincidence.
Right. And that's exactly where I was going with that. This goes back to what we said. When AJ Terrell is on the field, it makes a difference.
Hit different.
And it doesn't always show up in a stat line in terms of an interception, if you will. But like I said, that deep ball threat kept taking it away, and just literally rendered it useless. And the other piece we talked about on Friday as well was, we just wanted Grady Jarrett to get some help. We just wanted Low Carter to show that he was really interested in providing some of that help. And even Taquan Graham, sorry that he went down for injury.
Yeah, man, that's tough.
But he was at least showing some signs before he went down for injury. And that's all we really wanted. We just really wanted the D-line to show and prove that they were going to be the ones to keep that run game in check and make sure that they dictated the flow of the game. So, yeah, I really liked what we saw on defense from the Falcons as well. Now, this is my final question, and I think I might still be in the majority, but I'm just going to go out on a limb and ask you the question.
All right.
So, Jarvis, we get into the last 2 minutes, and Younghoe Koo kicks the go-ahead field goal, but the Bears get that ball back, and there's enough time for them to make something happen, whether it was win it outright or send it to overtime. Tell the truth. Has this team finally built up enough equity with you so that you were not nervous? You felt confident they were going to win?
Let me say this. I felt confident that they'll be able to get the win. I'll go ahead and say it. I felt confident, but here's two reasons why, right? Because just the way the defense is playing, like you're talking about sacking the quarterback and defensive linemen being active and them being in situations where they can't do those design runs where potentially Justin Fields can just take off for 65 yards and go to the house and take it to the house. And he's in a situation where he has to pass the football. I like those odds because, like I mentioned, like those guys were really made it a good point. And Arnold Ebiketie was able to get home, and got to give a shout out to the rook as well for continue to get to the quarterback and continue to work his moves and get there. So I was, that's one reason way the defense was playing. But the second one is that this team has been playing really well at home. Yeah. Arthur Smith came into the season talking about how, hey, we want to be able to protect this house. We want to give you a reason to come to this stadium and be the loudest stadium and have that real home field advantage. So I think that, given those two reasons, I was pretty confident that the Falcons were going to be able to pull it out because they've been in these situations before. Jalen Hawkins talking about getting one of those game-ending turnovers like that Richard Grant had and D. Alford had, early on in the season. So he said, I wanted to get mine. So this stuff is contagious. When you talk about playing like that and getting sacks and getting interceptions, these guys start making plays. They want to do it. They want to continue. motivates their teammates to go out there and go do the same thing. So yeah, those two reasons, I was pretty confident that the Falcons were gonna pull this bad boy out.
Indeed. And I agree. I was one of the people that obviously maybe I wasn't so much in the minority because I never doubted that they were going to win that game. Just like I don't doubt that after you stop here as your first stop, ATL Day Ones, and your second stop will be Locked On Sports Today. Why? Because they bring you the biggest stories of the day. They give you all the reaction in the world that you need. If you wanted to see the reaction that I had last night when I was ticked off, yeah, because I like the Chiefs, I will tell you. I was ticked off that it looked like the Chargers were going to win a game. I went to the restroom, came back, and guess what? The Chiefs won it. Get the reaction of our guys on Locked On Sports Today. Check that out and listen where you get us, your Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you download your podcast, you can get those guys as well. So don't forget, after ATL Day Ones, it's Locked On Sports Today for you.